This is called Building a Network. I kind of go through a few different pieces of it with you folks. And I think just as I've gotten more experience, I think what I thought networking was when I was an intern isn't at all what I know it is now. So I think our concept of networking is very messed up, and we don't really know what it is. And to a certain extent, I think in everybody's field, networking is a little bit different. But for us in this industry, it kind of comes down to two different things. I kind of break it into, there's internal networking and there's external networking. But the first thing, and the biggest, most bold thing on this piece of paper is I kind of switch up this quote. And most people say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I think that's absolutely wrong, because I know who Michael Jordan is, but he doesn't know me, and so he can't do much for me. So it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And I think that's the biggest thing to remember when you're networking. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. Because if you know me, if you're watching these episodes and you know me, but I don't know who the hell you are, I can't help you too much. I'm not going to think of you when it comes down to hiring somebody. Now, when I know you, it's a big difference. So my concept when I think about networking, it's getting people to know who you are. It's not saying, oh, I met this guy, and this guy. It's getting them to say, when a position opens up and they say, someone calls us, hey, do you know anybody for this position? And then they know you at that point in time, and that's what's important. So I break this down into two different pieces here. Like I said, internal networking and external networking. So internally, it's the university you work for, the gym you work for, the people you work with every day. And just kind of the number one bullet point there is pretty simple, and kind of obviously we've done the strength coach tricks of the trade, but kind of all encompassed into one bullet point: impress the people you're in front of every day. And the big thing is just understanding really, like for me, for example, is how many people, if you were to go through my coaching tree and every assistant, GA, and intern that have come through here on my staff, and then Coach Campbell's staff, who's our Olympic guy. If you think about all those coaches that have come through there, I bet you since the 6 years I've been here, there's probably been about over 50 coaches that have either worked for me, worked with Coach Campbell, and that's just strength coaches alone. And those guys are all at different places, different universities now. And think about everybody that they know, that when they ask about Akron and they ask about Coach Gildersleeve, what does that say about me? So how essential it is to network with the people you're in front of every day is absolutely massive, because you don't know in 10 years where he's going to be, and you don't know in 10 years where she's going to be, and that one connection could be the thing that saves you from getting a job or not getting a job. So I think people, when they think of networking, they skip that whole step. They think about who can I reach out to and network with, when what you should be doing is spending more time with the people right around you and impressing them, because those are the people that are going to see you every day, that when someone calls them and says, hey, do you know somebody for this position? Oh yeah, well, I was with this guy every day for 2 years. He's amazing. Hire him. That recommendation serves a lot more clout than if someone calls and says, yeah, I met this guy once. He seemed like a good dude. Think about so just that internal network is a piece that you don't hear many people talk about, but I think it's essentially important that every day emphasize networking the people with you, and when you go home at night, evaluate that. Did I do a good job of networking the people around me? I mean, how many people have spent time with Coach Campbell? Coach Campbell has been the head guy here and won 12 different conference championships. Probably a guy that you guys at least want to introduce yourselves to and spend some time, maybe ask a couple questions. But, have you guys done that? The interns over there, the GAs over there, are you guys all doing a good job of really networking with them, which is very important. And the next piece just takes that a step further. So connect with all people: interns, assistants, coaches, janitors, donors, administration. I just believe in that, and which we've talked about before. But don't just think about, like I said, we talk about transactional relationships. Don't just network with people you think can do something for you, someday. You should treat everybody the same. When you walk in the morning, that janitor that you see, the cafeteria lady that you see, Coach Harris.
Put the camera on.
And I'll explain that joke, folks. So, Coach Harris here. He's a hunk for sure. He just had our cafeteria lady ask him out on a date, which you want to talk about networking. That's a great job, Coach Harris. And you just never know. So, but anyways, you want to treat everybody the same. You want to make sure you spend time with administrator, donors. Because like I said, I mean, it's not about what they can give you, but at the end of the day, you don't know what somebody can do for you when that phone call and who it might be that either gets you or doesn't get you a job. And then the last kind of thing is your network will only ever be as good as you are. And I think that's a big thing that everybody needs to understand. I don't care how many people you know. If you're not good at what you do, your network's not going to be shit. It's only ever going to be as good as you are as a coach, because no one's going to recommend you for those positions. Even you can know 5,000 people, and 5,000 people can know you, but if you're not good at what you do, they're not going to recommend you. So it's all for nothing. So kind of just those are things that I don't think if I first were to say, hey, what do you think about networking? I don't think those are the first things people spew out. Is network with the people around you, and then you still have to be really good at your job. That's more important than networking itself, because you can be you can know as many as you want. If you're not good at your job, they're not going to recommend you for anything. So I think that's absolutely essential with that internal piece of building a network. And I don't think people really think about that stuff. So really evaluate yourself on that and how you're doing. Obviously, it's the same attitude that I attack every day with as well. So that's kind of the first piece of it is internally. How do you network for the people you interact with every day? Okay, the next piece of it is an external piece of it. So, which is obviously outside the university. And then I just kind of this first bullet point: shaking hands, introducing yourself, and having a 30-second conversation is not networking. Okay, I think that's what I used to think. I went down to my first conference and I was like, oh, I'm going to network the shit out of this conference. And I was 18 years old at a NSCA convention, and I left there being like, man, I did a great job. I shook like 40 coaches' hands. Well, not one of those coaches remembered who I was, because by just introducing yourself and saying, hey, where are you from? Great, cool, okay, see you later. That's not networking. You have to do something that makes yourself stick out so that they remember you, because once again, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. So if someone comes up to me for 30 seconds, I'd love to say I always remember those conversations, but unfortunately I just don't. Especially those conferences. I can't tell you how many people come up to me and then shake my hand, and then they walk away, and I have another person, and I'm in the middle of a conversation. So by the end of the thing, you're like, man, I don't really remember who those people necessarily were. And I think that's one thing that we think like, oh, we did a great job networking, but we didn't. Like I said, the person doesn't remember who you are, so it doesn't even do itself justice. So understand that shaking someone's hand, introducing yourself, that's not what networking is. You have to find a way to stand out so they do remember who you are, so that they know you as well. So, handwritten letters, I can't tell you how important I think those are. And I always talk to my staff about when we go down to conventions or conferences or clinics or whatever it may be, like, I want you guys to have a competition of who can write the most handwritten letters, follow-ups. You met them, you ask them if you go to lunch, you ask them if you have a follow-up phone call, you write a handwritten letter, you send an email, but like those are where you solidify those relationships. And then you use for us, for football, you use different pieces of the year to solidify those network opportunities. So, I always use, the beginning of the season. It's a great networking time to where I hit up my entire network and I just say, hey, good luck this upcoming season. Hopefully you guys stay injury free. I'll be in touch. I'll be following you guys. Go Tigers. Whatever it may be. And I use that as an opportunity time. Anytime a coach I know gets a big win, I follow those coaches. I stay with them. So if a coach gets a big win, a former player I had does something successful, I'm going to hit them up and use those opportunities. We all kind of, especially I can tell you, like, if someone's just hitting me up every day trying to, it's too much. But when you take those opportunities, it's kind of that way to not be too interfering too much with their life, being too much versus not being enough. So you take those moments, postseason, bowl games. Anybody makes a bowl game, hey, congratulations on a great season. That's awesome. Good luck in the Idaho Potato Bowl. Holidays are a great time to shoot a coach. Hey, coach, Merry Christmas. Hope all is well. Hopefully we can catch up sometime. And you stay with that, and that really allows you to network and allow, like I said, people to know who you are, not just a one interaction. And oh yeah, I know the head guy at Michigan State. Oh, you do? Does he know you? If I were to say, hey, does he know David Jackson? Would he say, yes, I know who that is? You know what I mean? So that's kind of when you're networking, that's what you have to be thinking about. And then I just think, just naturally, when you're always asking for stuff, can you do this for me? This, can I have this? Can you refer me for a job? Do you have any open GA? Like when you're constantly trying to talk to somebody and you're constantly asking for something, it's just not gonna ever be a great relationship. Like I always talk about, no matter who you're trying to network, try to find something that you can give them. Try to find something, some way that you can serve them. And you're always, and maybe they won't take it, but just having that offer on the table of what can I do for you? If there's ever anything I can do for you, let me know. Just things like that, those small words in a sentence on a handwritten letter are, even though you, as an intern, can you probably do anything for the head strength coach at Oregon? Maybe not, but just saying and offering it makes a difference. So I just think that's an imperative. And then probably something that I wish I would have done at a younger age, like when I first got into this thing. You think of, in our industry, you think of networking. Okay, you want to network with Division I head strength coaches or whatever, the cream of the crop of what you do to get a strength job. Well, the thing is that's great. It does get you it'll get you a job someday. It'll get you those assistant positions. But then what about when you're trying to move up as a director of strength and conditioning? Strength coaches don't get strength coaches other Division I jobs. It's football coaches. So knowing your network too, which is what I didn't necessarily go network with a bunch of football coaches. When I first started, I was more, hey, I gotta talk to this strength coach, this strength coach, this strength coach. But who hires strength coaches? The directors of strength and conditioning are hired by the football coaches. So you have to have a good network of football coaches if you ever want to become a head football strength coach. So just I think that's a piece that you have to understand and know. All right, before I kind of get into my general rules, questions or comments about that networking or anything in general?
No, I mean, like my first opportunity was down at the conference, and I met a bunch of people, following you around, following Coach Green around. But like I came back as a success because I got to finally talk to Coach Cox, and we went to dinner. We sat around and hung out for a couple hours, and then Cam Joss obviously ended up getting to talk to him for an hour and a half, 2 hours total. So it was I was thinking, I was like, man, I felt but I came back with two really, really great conversations, and then coach from Michigan at the Rogers Athletic, that was freaking cool. So it was 3 people that I actually talked to for half an hour to 2 hours, and and then obviously you meet 30, 40 people, but 3 of those made me feel wow, that was worth it right there.
No, that's awesome, and that's something I should add to that in detail. I mean, it's the quality of your networking is so much more important than the quantity of your networking. Like I said, I mean, if I took Sophia and Dave down to a conference, and Dave, you came up to me and said, dude, Sleeve, I met 250 strength coaches. I shook 250 guys. I gave 250 guys my business card. What an awesome time. And Sophia said, hey, Sleeve, I went out to breakfast, dinner, and lunch with 3 different strength coaches, had 2-hour-long conversations with them, got their whole program. They're going to email me their plyometrics. I had a lot of questions on that. Who do you think I would say did a better job? Sophia. Even though he met 250 strength coaches, how many of them are going to remember him? Probably not one. How many are going to remember her? All 3. Yeah, I remember when I had breakfast or lunch or dinner, and so I think that's a freaking amazing point. Is definitely, your quality of networking. And how many people in this room thought, networking was about how big can your network get? How about how deep can those roots get of your network? How much truth is in those actual networks, not versus how necessarily big are they? That's a really good point.
And also, especially being an intern, because I've been an intern a few times, it's don't always go and shoot for that head guy or top assistant. Sometimes your network can be who you're working with right now. Just for I have a bunch of guys that I've interned with who are now directors of different colleges and universities, or top assistants, or your mentor has his own gym, and I intern with them. And even players that you coach, we have a couple players here who aspire to be strength and conditioning professionals. You know, the time that you take talking to those players and giving them some of the knowledge that you have within the profession, that goes a long way as well. Because, for example, I have a couple players, like one guy, Connor Shep, right now, he was a linebacker at the University of Sioux Falls Division II program, and right now he's at the University of Miami interning. You know, there's another guy who's a top assistant somewhere, and just those players can get you jobs in the future as well. So don't think you just have to intern with that head guy or with that assistant thinking like, oh, you never know. He may interview you one day, or you may work for him one day. And it's just because you guys were in the room and you guys know each other's grind, you guys know each other as people who spend damn near 15, 16 hours a day. They know who you are, they know your work ethic, and like they're gonna help you just as much as the next guy is. So
I think another important thing too was like what you said, Sleep, is the handwritten letters. I mean, you have this whole bulletin board of letters, and for me, I was just raised to write a lot of thank you notes and a lot of the follow-up letters and everything. I've been told so many times just how much they appreciated that, because people don't, especially now, everything, you'll send a text, that doesn't mean anything. To write a handwritten letter is just so much more important than that, and I think you can just, I don't know, explain things better and be more, I don't know, just be not like emotional, but just it's more
endearing.
More endearing than anything else. And so I don't know, I think that's just super important. I think people, especially like my generation, just have totally lost that completely.
I would say now more than ever too, because
Yeah.
like you said, I mean, it's not. I think 20 years ago, you know, writing a handwritten thank you note, it was standard.
Yeah.
Now you get a handwritten letter, you kind of open it up and you're like, oh shit, that's different. You know,
Yeah.
that's just they don't do those things anymore.
Yeah.
I'm a phone call guy.
Yeah, I hate
Great
that.
too.
I'd rather talk on the phone for 5-10 minutes. Leave
Yeah.
a voicemail. Want to call back? Cool.
Yeah.
Handwritten letters are great.
Yeah. Both
I'll pick
are
up the
great.
phone if I got your number.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Green, what you said reminds me of another thing. Is, and I'm gonna add this too. That's why I love doing these, because you always remember things to add to them. But don't worry about the freaking logo on that T-shirt.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And that's like when you're networking, man. Like you go down to these, especially I can't freaking stand these conventions. It's like there's a freaking line to talk to the guys with the biggest logos on their T-shirts. You know, like fuck those logos. It's not. It's. I can't tell you how many guys I know that are so much. I mean, now it doesn't mean if you're at a small school, it doesn't mean you're a shitty strength coach. Just like if you're at a big school, it doesn't mean you're a great strength coach. I know a lot of really good strength coaches, some of the best in the country, that are at very low level schools, and I know some ones that aren't so great at some really freaking big schools. So I just think like when you go to these conventions, these conferences, these clinics, and you're networking, like put blinders on. Don't care whether they have a freaking Seminole on their shirt or a freaking weird tiger you've never seen in your life that may be some high school strength coach like Coach Martins. I mean, if you went to a convention, how many people would probably line up to talk to Coach Martins? Probably not too many, but who really has the most knowledge about all the fucking programs together in that room?
And knows those.
And and you want to talk about networking, who could hit up those people and say, hey, I got a guy, you know? But you would have never, if you couldn't get past that in your head, like you would have never known that, you know? So don't worry about the freaking logos. And that's a great point, Green. You know, it just that stuff is that's one of my least favorite things about this industry is how consumed everybody is by that, and you know, Power 5, and you know, that's they make more money, but it doesn't. And it's the same thing. I want to say Joe Ken said this, maybe not, but anyways, someone said it. I think Joe Ken, but he said, or maybe it was Buddy Morris. One of them said it, but it was. Just because you're a good football team doesn't mean you're a good strength coach. And just because you're a bad football team doesn't mean you're a bad strength coach. Unfortunately, in our field, there's so many variables that those things don't always coincide together. So I think just remembering that, and not just saying, oh, that team went 5-7 last year, I'm not talking to them. It doesn't necessarily always always coincide there. So just remember those things.
One more thing, like one thing that you and Harris didn't point out either was like going back to the bullet point of making sure you connect with all people. Like Coach Cam, he was a vendor at the conference. He had a booth.
Oh, Cam Jones.
Yeah, he had a booth at the conference.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a vendor. He wasn't there presenting like as a coach. He was a vendor. He had his own booth. Harris was interested in the stuff that he had and sparked up a conversation. And that literally lasted about 2 hours. So that just goes back with the third bullet point on the sheet. Connect with all people, because you never know. Because he was our first guest on this YouTube series.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you don't know. You can't judge. You just got to keep on mind and roll with it. Anything else there before I move forward?
Making the best of your situations. Like when I was with that high school team, like we had some big guys coming in. Like we had some big players. So we had a bunch of colleges that came in and out of the weight room all the time. But I mean, most of those strength coaches, if they go to another high school, they might just come to watch that player just run a couple times and maybe lift 1 or 2 weights. But when you're one guy and you're running a weight room full of 60 dudes, and you have those dudes' attention the whole time, and they stick around for the whole lift and then talk to you after, like that's huge. Because I mean, I was in the weight room way before, because I had our college guys during the summer. So when they saw me working out with the college guys, they just thought I was just someone else. And then when I went up and introduced them that I was the director of strength, and it sparked that conversation. Because I mean, they see like I'm 23, and I'm coaching kids that are in high school, so I'm 5 years out. Like I just got out of college. So when they see that, they're like, wow, this is a young guy. Oh, where'd you play football at? Tell them where you play football at. And then you start building this connection. Like, yeah, I had my internships. Oh, well, you know this person? Yeah, I know this person. Because you meet these staffs and you connect with these staffs too. Everyone knows everybody in these industries, because yeah, there's a bunch of teams, like 132 teams, but somehow there's always a coach that coached with someone else or played with someone else.
That's actually a good way to go to your next bullet point.
Oh, now you know what my next bullet point is.
I have one thing about the externally networking outside your university. Now, obviously they have like strength conferences, they have football coaching conferences where football coaches go to. Would you ever suggest as a strength coach trying to attend like a football coaches conference and going there and just meet?
A lot of coaches do it. It doesn't work for us because we've always started up. Or there's been something, so I haven't been able to do it, because they're, especially in January, they're right there at the same spot. Ours is right after theirs. Yeah, that's when we're always here getting ready for our program. So, it's a great idea. It's just going there and meeting those coaches and any networking you can do. Yeah, absolutely. The more the better. So the last kind of piece of this is just my general rules of networking. Number one is, always came from my dad here as a kid, but always take an opportunity. You never know where it can lead. You know, I can remember as when I was my first year as a director, Glazier Clinics emailed me and said, will you do a presentation for us? It was like an online podcast. And at that point in time, I didn't really know how the system worked. I didn't want to get taken advantage of, and I didn't really know what I was really worth at that point in time. I didn't really know. But anyways, my first kind of thought in my head was, well, how much are they going to pay me? I'm already working 12 hours a day. How much are they going to pay me to do this? Which wasn't the right mentality at all. But anyways, I'm being upfront and honest. That's the first thing I thought. So I responded and said, yeah, maybe I can make this work. What are the details, something like that. And he's like, I would need $50 for an hour long, or an hour and a half long podcast. I'm like, $50. That doesn't seem to be enough. So I kind of responded. I was like, any way you can get that closer to 100. I don't know. I'm freaking negotiating with this freaking guy about freaking $50. Anyways, I went home that night. I'm like, yeah, I'm a dumbass. I'll do it. Why would I not do it? And so, anyways, I responded. I'm like, hey, I don't know what I was thinking. I'd love to do it. What a freaking cool opportunity. Let's go. It's probably just me being a little immature. 24 years old. So anyways, I did it, and it was awesome. I loved it, and they loved it as well. and then they invited me a couple months later to come do 3 presentations at an actual clinic, which, you know, was amazing. Went there, and since then I've spoken, you know, at 9 different presentations, and and how much better that's made me, how many people I've met because of that. I mean, I can't tell you how many coaches and how many, you know, people I've been able to talk to, impress, present our program, promote our program, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that I would have never ever gotten an opportunity had I not taken that first, you know, opportunity to walk through that door. That's something my dad always said, is just, you know, like take all the opportunities you get, because you don't know like who they'll, you know, allow you to meet, and what doors they'll open. If it's, you know, walk through it, you know, always take those opportunities. So even as you guys get a chance, like, you know, to go to those camps, that you went to a couple camps this summer, and you do those things, like, just freaking take them. Don't worry about the money, don't worry about the time, like, take them, because you never know what they'll allow you to do or who they'll allow you to meet. So I just think that's a great example of why you always want to take those opportunities and be the first guy to step up and say, I'll go. Don't be that guy in the back where the coach says, hey, is anyone interested in going and speaking at this school in front of these? Just I'll go, I'll do it. And if you're that guy, it'll work out for you pretty well. You guys have already, you know, heard this, but, you know, every conversation is an interview. What is your brand? What is the first impression people are going to get of you? You know, is essential. It is, like I said, I mean, you leave that first conversation somewhere, that first impression. Some people might only see you coach one time. You never know. You know, I always, my mentality is when I'm out there coaching or I'm on the floor, you never know who's gonna walk in and see you, and that's probably the only time they might ever get to see you coach. Or on a Saturday when you're warming up the team, there might be one person that comes in and watches you warm up that team, and it's the only time they'll ever see you warm up the team for their entire life. If they only saw you for one time, you know, what would they say about you if they left? You know, what would they go back and talk about that strength coach? And that's important to me. That's why you can't ever take a day off. You can't ever take a group off. You can't ever take a warm up off. You can't ever take a conversation off. You always have to show up, because you always have to understand that someone is watching your brand and what you stand for. So that's kind of like my mentality. And I remember as a kid hearing Michael Jordan talk about that. Maybe I was reading his biography, but he kind of talked about it, like, they said, you know, why do you play so much? You don't have to play in all these games. Like, you're the greatest ever. Your team's great. You don't need to play. Or, you know, you guys are 20 games in first place. Why are you still playing? Like, just wait for the playoffs and get fresh. And his response was that, like, because you know how many people came here and they'll probably only get one opportunity to ever watch Michael Jordan play. And when they see Michael Jordan play, I want it to be the best experience of their life. And so I just remember that was very powerful when I read that. I was in high school probably. And I just kind of always had that mentality now, is that, you know, whether it's a recruit, whether you sign here or not, I want your experience to be the best experience you've ever had. They said whether you're a janitor or a vendor, like whatever that conversation is, like, it means a lot to me that if you only get one experience with Matt Gildersleeve, that it was a positive one, that it was something you leave there saying, man, that guy's good at what he does. So I just think that's a very important thing. Then I just have a general comment here. The best way to network is to truly and genuinely care about people, and I just really believe that. I believe that if you don't think about anything on this freaking sheet, if you go around and truly are genuine and you care about the people around you, and when you do meet people, you care about them and you're genuine to them, your network's gonna get pretty vast, and it's gonna help you out a lot, just because those people are always gonna remember and appreciate how genuine you are. Because I'd say if there's one thing this world lacks, and I know there's probably a lot, but there aren't a lot of genuine people anymore, you know? And some of my closest friends aren't necessarily people that I'm very compatible with. It's not like we have like very similar person. I mean, my closest friends, the people that are gonna stand next to me in my wedding, are people that are genuine. And that's what meant the most to me, is when I found a genuine human being, I kept them as close to my freaking hip pocket as possible. And that's what means the most to me. You know, I don't care about what color you are, what sex you are. I don't care about how smart you are. I don't care where the fuck your parents come from. If you're genuine, you know, that's all that matters to me. You know, like fucking Green pisses me off all the time, but he's one of the most genuine human beings I've ever met, and he's loyal. And that's what Martin's talked about. And those two things, no matter how many times I want to put this pen through Green's ear, that can't be replaced with his loyalty and his how generous he is. And so I want to keep those people. I want to keep those people close to me, and that's very important. But I just really believe if that's your mindset, you're gonna be good. You know, things are gonna work out well for you. And then, you know, obviously it kind of goes to that next point of serve. You know, it's the same freaking thing. You know, serving people. If you stay out of those transactional relationships where, what can I do for you? What can you do for me? If you don't live your life like that, and you don't think about money and transactions, and you think about how you can give and serve, once again, your network is going to work for you. You're not going to have to worry about where your network is or how well it is. Passion and enthusiasm are the two most attractive characteristics you can possess, and that's kind of like you talk about having a good first impression. If you want to have a good first impression, you know, if you got passion and enthusiasm in your hip pocket, you're gonna impress the shit out of people. Anything you do at full speed. You know, and that's like, be passionate what you do and have a ton of enthusiasm. If you look at the most successful people in the world, they're passionate, they're enthusiastic. If you look at people that I want to follow, people that you naturally gravitate to, think about who they are. They're the people that are super enthusiastic and very passionate. That's just like, those are the people that we naturally want to gravitate towards. So I think having those two characteristics is massively important. And then this last one, especially because of even what you were talking about, Sophia, how much our society has changed. What message do you send on your social media? Because I'll tell you what, you guys know the first thing I do when I get applicants for positions, I just look at their social media. Like, I always thought that was bullshit, but it's absolutely true. I want to see what you look like. I want to see what kind of pictures you post. I want to see what kind of words you post. I want to see I want to see who your friends are, who you associate yourselves with. What are your friends saying on their Facebooks? Like, those are the first, if you make my resume cut, and you go into the green pile, which means like you're certified, you have experience, you meet all my qualifications to be an actual applicant for the position, the first thing I do is, all right, Justin Fuchs, let's look at his Facebook. Let me look at his Twitter. Let me look at his Instagram. And I'm gonna go through and I wanna see what kind of messages he's delivering. Did he come to my office and say, hey, I'm the hardest worker, I don't party, I'm all about this, and this, and then I look at his Instagram, it's all a bunch of lies. Well, then there's some consistency issues there, right? So the message you send on social media, and you know, like, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm very open on social media about my life. I probably swear on my social media a little bit, probably more than I technically should to be professional, but it's authentically who I am. Who I am in this office is who I am on my social media, is who I am in front of our players, is who I am to my girlfriend, is who I am to my family. I mean, that's authentic. So whether you like it or not, it's who you're gonna see. You're not gonna see one guy in an interview and then see someone else on your social media. So my thing is, be consistent, be who you are, but understand that whatever it is you put on your social media, it's out there. And people are gonna see it, they're gonna know what it is, and your message just better be consistent. If you're trying to say that you are a by the book, uptight, you know, you're gonna wear a suit and tie to work every day, and that's the kind of guy you're gonna say you are, you better be it in all facets of your life. Your social media better be consistent with that. So those are just kind of the general rules and guidelines of networking, of what I've seen, of kind of the mistakes I've seen. But it's really, like I said, I think probably the most powerful thing that anyone ever said to me was that quote. Like, I didn't hear that till I was like 25 years old, and I was like, this dude's a freaking genius. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. I'd never heard that before, and it just, as soon as it just clicked with my head, like, that just makes so much sense. And I think some of us are just doing this whole networking thing so freaking wrong. All right, what questions or comments do we have on any of that? Folks, you have anything? Cameraman?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
Great.
With social media though, like how, I mean, even if they're not being, say they're consistent, but say they have like not like too much part, but they like go out and stuff, would that bother you? Or would it just be like they?
I don't think it's a problem to have fun in life.
Yeah.
Now, you have to understand what message you're sending. I'm not like, I'm sure I probably, if you're sitting around a campfire with a beer in your hand and you put it on social media, like, I don't personally see a problem with that with our industry. Now, if you have a video of you bonging a beer, it's probably not very good. Probably,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think it's really just use your head. But like, like I said, like some strength coaches are like terrified to post a picture of their family on vacation because they hashtag grind all day. they hashtag constantly have to read books and can't ever take a day off. They hashtag could never go play 18 holes on it. Like, I don't, for me, like I said, like, you can feel however you want about what I do, but this is who I am. Like, so, you know, I don't have a problem posting a picture with me and all my buddies when we're in the Caribbean, our 1 week off we have every freaking 6 months. Like, I don't feel bad about that. I don't care about that. Now, if you're sending a message where, you know, all I'm putting on my social media is boys night out, in Cleveland for the Tribe game, go Cavs, at this rock concert, well, then you're gonna start to send a message that work's not very important to you, that your team, your family, like, you'll send those messages, and I think your social media probably kind of trends naturally what you do think about and what you do want to post more than not. So I don't know that you'd have to, but yeah, I mean, you start to do those things, you're sending a message that you probably don't want to send, you know. So I just want understanding that and looking at, you know, what are my last 10 posts? You know, what are they like? And to say, like, you know, but yeah, I mean, before I get super detailed, yeah, I mean, just yes, and just kind of use common sense, you know.
Be smart about people.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. What else?
I know with the interview process thing, when I interviewed on the West Coast, they wanted to do like FaceTime or what's the other one?
Skype?
Skype.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we are freaking revolutionary in here.
But like
Skype.
they wanted to see like my facial reactions to certain questions,
Yeah.
and how I reacted, like how quick. Because I mean, over the phone you can do anything, but when you're like face to face with someone and how you react to a question or your response, it's different because you can tell a lot from that.
No doubt. I couldn't agree more, and that's why, like I said, I mean, I would never just, well, interns if they're far away, I will do that. Obviously, if you're gonna come work for me as a full-time guy, you're gonna come here face to face. I think there's a lot to be said about that for sure. Okay, so you three, my interns, you guys have a homework assignment from this. So I want an Excel document made for all three of you guys, and we're gonna do 20 schools a week. Okay, or, you know, Sophia, we haven't really sat down and necessarily know what direction you want to take your career. So maybe we manipulate this a little bit, but for you two, and it's either 20 schools or companies, wherever it may be, but I want the name of the school. So, you know, if Dave, if you know, Utah State is your dream school, that would be number one on your list. So I want you to make a list of your top 20 guys. So your top 20 schools, who the director of strength and conditioning is. I want his email address, and I want his phone number if you can find it, and then a mailing address as well. Okay, so we're gonna do 20. It's gonna be due next Wednesday, and then you're gonna send a letter out, an email out to all those coaches. We'll kind of go over the template of that letter, but first thing I want to do is get those information, and then we're gonna do 100 of these in total. So if you guys want to, you know, keep on working ahead of where I am, but I want to do at least 20 a week. So because it takes some time to look all this stuff up. So, you know, you could do NFL, you know, if you're interested in NBA, whatever it may be, but like I said, whatever company, whatever it is, but I want 20 done. Everyone should have their own Excel document. You guys can email it to me so I can look it over by next Wednesday. And then we'll go over kind of a template letter to send out to each of them, each school, and we're gonna start trying to help you guys network and inquire about positions and things of that nature. So 20 by next Wednesday, everyone understands the Excel document that we're gonna do? Great. And like I said, we'll do 20 every week, but don't worry about sending the letters out. I'll go with you guys through that with you next week. Just get the list first. And then I'll give you guys a template of kind of what to say and how to make your guys' letters, and then we'll add and we'll go all the way up to 100 for that, okay? All right, any other questions or comments?
You said you want top 20, the head guy, email address, phone number, mailing address by next week.
Yep.
Okay.
And if, like I said, if it's companies, then, you know, same concept, the head person, whatever. Coaches, anything else? Good? All right, networking 101. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next